And welcome back to part 3 of the old Honda Foreman. Couple things. One, the oil light temperature just stays on. The fan never kicks on. I'm not sure if it would if it got the temperature or not, but I want to just run a bypass switch so I can run that fan manually. So I have this wire back here, 15 amp inline fuse, run that to hot, and then I'll jump into this. You can see up there, blue line hanging off there, the blue wire up in the top there. That's the 12 volt hot to run the fan. So I'm gonna run a switch up here along the right side of the bodywork right here, and probably put a switch right there and call this. That's one part of the project. The other big thing with this machine, after I had it running for a while yesterday, I noticed that the fuel was bubbling up. So it was coming out of the vent hose and coming down here. You can see this is kind of wet up in here, or not wet, but at least stained. And fuel stinks. So it was bubbling up. The gas was quote unquote boiling. And then I started doing a little research. Turns out, previous owner did some work down here. Never put the heat shield back on that goes between the engine and the gas tank. So I'm not sure if I'm going to buy a used heat shield off eBay for 35 bucks or just make my own and kind of stick it in there. So anyway, gas tank's coming out. I have to run the wires up there anyway. So that'll be what's happening in this video. So pretty simple. Pulled the bodywork off already. There'll be 2 bolts down here. It's like 10 millimeter bolts. Pull the gas tank off. And then these 2 straps, one on each side here, pull it off and the gas tank should lift right out another way. Okay, so I have one of the jumpers hooked up over here to a hot off the battery, and there's that other end of the blue connector right there. So this is the wire that runs to the fan controller, which doesn't seem to be working. And then here's the blue that goes down to the engine. So we'll touch that. Fan is spinning. Off, on, off. So we'll just run an intermittent switch or a toggle switch to that wire off there and then get that fan so it functions when I want it to. Just look down here, there's obviously no shield whatsoever. There's a plastic heat shield but also a rubber shield like this that kind of keeps the dust and dirt out, I guess. But this machine is missing not one but both of those. So I'm probably going to do is fabricate some sort of sheet metal, just tie into these little holes right here and figure out a way to just get a metal heat shield over here out of some flashing or something like that, and keep the heat off the gas tank and stop from bubbling up in the future. Quick update, I just wired the wire with the inline fuse, which is currently empty. Hooked it up to the positive battery terminal, ran that down along there, through these wire grommets, around the front, and then over to here. So this is, I think, an old battery tender wire. Chop that off, splice that into a switch, and then run the other leg of the switch down to that blue wire right here, and I'll be done. Okay, I think I decided on a location. Right kind of in the middle of this triangle right here. It's flat, there's nothing behind it. Nothing, the handlebar doesn't get near there when you spin it around. So anyway, this is the switch. Got a drill bit that's just bigger than the actual shank of the switch. We'll go ahead and drill a hole. I hate drilling some good plastic, but quad needs a fan, so we'll go ahead and do this. Let's see if I chose the right size. Just too small. We'll go one size bigger as a drill bit. Okay, I went one drill bit higher, and now that fits in there just fine. So perfect fit. Now we'll splice a wire to get to that blue connection down there. All right, I've never actually used one of these in my life because I feel like they're such a hack. But I use one of these wire splices here. You can't even see it from that image in the camera. That right there. So that is, I want to tee into this just in case this fan does work. If the switch is off, maybe it can still work through the fan control, which I don't think works, but I'll leave that circuitry intact just in case it does. Okay, so the heat switch is done. Up is on. There goes the fan blowing. And down is off. I put a 10 amp fuse in line. Could probably use a 15, but I'm gonna start with a 10 and see. I'd rather have the fuse blow out than the fan burn out. So that's what we're putting in for now. Buckle that up. And now we have manual switch fan for all those slow riding days. Now I gotta build that heat shield over top of the engine. I was gonna use just flashing for this, but the flashing roll we have isn't wide enough to actually catch this hole, and there's one hole over here as well. So it's not wide enough to actually catch that, nor direction, neither direction. So if I go this way, fine with length, but it's not gonna catch both holes. So I don't know how WT this is, but I could use this right here. Pretty easy to work with. You know, it's aluminum foil, not much different than that aluminum tape they put in the inside of the gas tank sometimes to keep heat off. So maybe I can try with this first, just keep an eye on it, see if it actually gets too hot to melt, or I can just, you know what I'll do? I'm gonna do a flame test on this first, see if it melts when I heat up. Changed my mind, not using MAP gas, we're just gonna try using this first, the heat gun. Nah, that's no good. Aluminum foil got eaten through pretty quick, and then there's plastic bubble wrap inside, so this will not work, I don't think. It's definitely a little redneck renovation there, but it's held good on this side. It's kind of just sandwiched over on this side. I'm gonna keep an eye on it. It's not hard to pull the plastic out to fix it. I should have made this longer and kind of wrap around and hit that part right there. That's what I should have done. All right, well, the redneck renovations on the Foreman are getting worse, getting jankier. There we go. So that, let's see, is it touching up there? No, it's kind of suspended over the engine. There's a gap up there. We'll see how this works. Sit outside, let it run for a while, see if we start to get melting aluminum foil there. The seat will cover it, so you won't be able to see it unless you pull the seat off. So that's good. And our fan switch is still, it's still working. All right. It's been a couple weeks since I've taken a video of this. It'll be part of the same video, but you won't know it. But it'll be a long time since I videotaped. All right, so I showed you the gas boiling before. It was missing the heat shield in here. So I did, even though I did a heat test for this and it melted with the heat gun, I put that in there, installed it, and there was no more gas boiling problems. So I did, it actually worked pretty well. We've been riding around the property quite a bit. So what I did do is I went on eBay and bought the actual part. This is the plastic heat shield that will go between the engine and the gas tank. So we're gonna install that right now. But again, I mean, that little foil bubble wrap thing, I think we'll take a look at it when it gets pulled off more, but I think it held up pretty good. So stay tuned. Here's a better view of my makeshift heat shield held in with that push snap there, one back here, and then one over on that side. Again, the gas has not boiled since I put that in there, so could save myself 30 bucks, I guess, by not buying that particular used part. Actually, it was 22 bucks. So, but I also wanted it to be right. I think the last guy who worked in this must have had a pretty big box of parts left over, which is never a good thing. So anyway, we'll install this and get this thing back to run again. All right, so that's how it looks before I'm going to pull it off. We'll check the underside to see if anything melted, but again, I think that was a pretty good little redneck hack right there. Cool. Here's the underside. Got a little deformed right here. But again, nothing smelled weird when I was driving, so I consider that a temporary success. Let's put the real one on now. This is what the part's supposed to look like. Especially a rubber flap that goes in the back here, goes over the car, but I don't have that. I wasn't going to buy that. So, you know, put two of those plastic rivets in there and then one over here, and that'll be installed. So it kind of hooks in up front there. Again, the previous owner just did not put all the parts back on this machine. So that will keep the gas from boiling the same as my redneck hack. So, all right, stay tuned. There's fully installed. So we had body snap there, there, and there. And we'll go ahead and start putting this thing back together. The gas tank goes on next. All right, so there it is, ready to put the seat back on. Rest in peace, little tinfoil. Now we got the machine ready to go back outside with the seat on, take a quick test drive. All right, for test drive. So here's the switch I installed. I'm not sure I showed you in the other video. I bought a waterproof one, so fan on, fan off. Fire it up, be a cold start. I just took it out for a pretty good test ride, and there's no fuel coming out of the vent line right now. So pretty sure that heat shield works as good as the one that I had on there for the past couple weeks with my backwoods fix. And as the old sticker here says, this thing's ready to go hunting. Let's go hunting, y'all. All right, thanks for watching this part 3 of the video. That should be it for this machine. I don't plan on doing anything else to it except riding it. It's a Honda, and maybe swapping the front tires on eventually. But these tires are pretty dry rotted, but they've been holding air for about 2.5 weeks now. So I'm gonna let those go until they start leaking air out. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hopefully this was entertaining for you, at least knowledgeable somewhat. You saw the struggles I went through with the old 2001 Honda Foreman 450S. Alrighty, take care. Thanks for watching.